Hello there you guys, welcome to another of my videos. Going to be giving you my starting 11 prediction for our game against Real Sociedad in the Europa League round of 32 second leg. So in goal, I'm going to go with Dean Henderson. Dean Henderson has done well in the games he's played in this season, and I think he's reliable enough now to become our number one goalkeeper because he has got that experience behind him. He endured 2 successful loans with Sheffield United. And before the start of this season, Dean Henderson signed a 6-year contract with Man United. Now, Dean Henderson has threatened to quit Man United if he's not assured the number one role. Now, I think 3 Premier League clubs are in for him. That's Tottenham, Chelsea and West Ham. We've revealed our asking price for Dean Henderson. It's £40 million. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, by the way, has admitted that it's becoming more and more difficult to leave Dean Henderson out of the side. Solskjaer has recently said that he is prepared to sell either De Gea or Dean Henderson in the summer. I think it should be De Gea. Now, Paul Scholes come out recently and said that De Gea is becoming a real problem for Man United, and Solskjaer's already warned De Gea that his number one jersey is under threat. But De Gea is going to remain our number one for at least this season. You know, we could sell him in the summer. And he says we're considering a summer bid for Donnarumma as a replacement for De Gea. You know, Donnarumma could leave AC Milan. This is David De Gea's 10th season at the football club, so he has been a long servant. He's made over 500 appearances for the club in all competitions. A few years ago, De Gea was regarded as the best goalkeeper in the world. But in the last couple of years, he's made calamitous mistakes, and reflect on that, he's become a liability. If we sell De Gea in the summer, I think we can get from between 50 to £60 million. But De Gea's had some good games this season. But yeah, I think Dean Henderson in goal for this one. At right back, I'm going to go with Wan-Bissaka. I think Wan-Bissaka's really improved. There's been some games this season where Wan-Bissaka's got forward well, he's got into good positions, he's put good crosses into the box. Defensively, Wan-Bissaka's always been superb. This is Wan-Bissaka's second full season at Manchester United. We got him in a deal worth £50 million from Crystal Palace in the summer of 2019. The 2 centre-halves, I'm going to go with Axel Tuanzebe and Harry Maguire. Yeah, I think Axel Tuanzebe will be given a chance in this game. Tuanzebe doesn't get in our 11 much, does he? There's actually been rumours of him going out on loan. Harry Maguire, I think he's enjoyed some good games this season, but he's also enjoyed some bad games. Harry Maguire wasn't worth the £80 million that we got him for. He's the most expensive centre-half in the world at the moment, and the second most expensive signing at the club, just behind Paul Pogba. Maguire did get an assist in the Newcastle game recently. I think he also did well in the 1-1 draw with West Brom. He got forward well from that left-hand side. At left back, I'm going to go with Alex Telles. Alex Telles has played nowhere near as much as I expected, but don't forget at one point he did have COVID. But I think in a lot of the games he has played in, he's done quite well. You know, Alex Telles can get forward well. He can get into good positions. He can put good crosses into the box. Defensively, Alex Telles is quite good. We got Alex Telles in a deal worth 15.4 million from Porto. When we got him in, I expected him to be our number one. But yeah, Luke Shaw still remains our first choice left back. Luke Shaw gets forward better than Alex Telles, and Luke Shaw's had a good career at Manchester United. Apart from the injuries he's had, Luke Shaw's been at the club now over 6 years. But yeah, Telles at left back. In the midfield, I'm going to go with Scott McTominay and Fred. Scott McTominay has been out of a knock recently, but he should be available for this game. McTominay has enjoyed good games this season. I think the best game he enjoyed was a 6-2 win against Leeds because he scored twice in that game. And he also got an assist. He did well against Watford in the FA Cup third round, scored in that game. He did well in the 9-0 win against Southampton. You know, McTominay has been part of the club for several years. Just after the first lockdown, he signed a 5-year contract at Man United. Fred, I think he's really improved. He's getting forward more. His passing's improved and he breaks up the play well. Fred's been at the club now for a few years. We got Fred in a deal worth £52 million from Shakhtar Donetsk. Gotta say, Fred was an exceptional player during his time in Ukraine. Ahead of McTominay and Fred, I'm gonna go with Juan Mata in the number 10. Juan Mata doesn't play a lot now for Manchester United, but you know he has played some games this season and he's done quite well. Juan Mata has obviously now lost that yard of pace. I think Juan Mata's had a good career at Manchester United. You know, he has been at the club now over 6 years. He's made over 200 appearances in all competitions and he's scored 50 goals. Earlier on this season, Juan Mata rejected an 18 million a year contract offer to play in Saudi Arabia. We got him in a deal worth £40 million from Chelsea back in 2014. I think there's a good chance though that Juan Mata will leave the club in the summer. Juan Mata's current contract expires in June. We do have an option to trigger his contract for a further year. So I don't think, you know, Bruno Fernandes will start this game. I think Bruno Fernandes needs a rest because we have overplayed Bruno Fernandes. But Bruno Fernandes earlier on this season denies that he needs a rest because he wants to help the club win trophies. You know, Bruno Fernandes has won Player of the Month quite a few times, reflecting on his good performances. And don't forget, Fernandes said on his 12-month anniversary that he's planning on spending many years at Man United. But he has made the difference in the team. In most of his games at Man United, he's been consistent. But there's been a few games where he has looked off the pace. You know, Fernandes wasn't brilliant against Newcastle despite scoring from the penalty and getting an assist. But he was very good against Sociedad in the first leg. He got a brace. On the right hand side, I'm going to go with Daniel James. I think he deserves another chance. Daniel James has played in our last 2 games. James scored against Newcastle. And he also scored in the first leg against Real Sociedad. So I think he's getting his way back into the team now, is Daniel James. Because prior to the game against Sociedad in the first leg, he didn't play for a while. And obviously there was narratives of Daniel James possibly leaving the club during the January transfer window. We got James in a deal worth £18 million from Swansea. Was it in the summer of 2019? On the left-hand side, I'm going to go with Marcus Rashford. Marcus Rashford had a very, very good game against Newcastle recently. Obviously, got his name on the score sheet. When Rashford's on form, he can get good runs in behind. He can cause problems for the opposition's defence. He can score goals. And we just need to keep Marcus Rashford out wide on the left because that's where he's more effective. Rashford's obviously endured his bad periods. Rashford's been part of the club for several years. He's been a United player since the age of 7 and he's been in our senior squad since 2016. And up top, I'm going to go with Anthony Martial. Like I said, I think Martial needs to be dropped, but I think he's going to start this game. Martial has been out of form for the vast majority of this season. But Solskjaer's backed Martial to rediscover his form. Martial doesn't have a long-term future at Manchester United, so who will our next long-term number 9 be? Martial was good last season, and he was good in his debut season under Louis van Gaal. Martial has been at the club now over 5 years. Don't forget Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was the one that gave him that number 9 shirt. So that's how I think we could line up against Real Sociedad on Thursday. Now, Edison Cavani, he's out with a muscle injury at the moment. I presume Solskjaer will provide us with an update on him in his press conference for this game. Solskjaer's already said Edison Cavani could be available. I think he's missed our last 2 games. Edison Cavani has made a fantastic impact since he's come in. Cavani's a player that can hold up the play well, he can create chances and he can also score goals. Cavani's future has been decided. He wants to stay at Man United beyond this season. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's already said that Edison Cavani is set for contract extension talks, so I presume we'll trigger that 1-year extension on his contract. I think Cavani's into like the final 4 months of his current contract. Yeah, we got him on a free transfer last summer. He signed a 1-year contract with Man United with an option of a 2nd year. Donny van de Beek, he's been out with a muscle injury. You know, Donny van de Beek could be involved in this game because Solskjaer said he could be available. Donny van de Beek has played nowhere near as much as I expected. You know, most of Donny van de Beek's appearances have come from the bench. He's only started 2 games in the league this season. Solskjaer promised Donny van de Beek more game time earlier on this season because Solskjaer revealed that Van de Beek is unhappy with his lack of game time. But he's a good player, we need to use him more. You know, we got Van de Beek in a deal worth £40 million. We paid £35 million up front and there was £5 million in add-ons. Van de Beek's got a contract with the club until 2025. And you can play him in 3 different roles. Phil Jones, we know he's still out with injury, but he doesn't get in our 11 anyway. Paul Pogba, he won't be playing any part in this game. Solskjaer did confirm prior to the game against Sociedad in the first leg that Paul Pogba's going to be out for the rest of February. He's got a thigh injury. Paul Pogba should be back in early March. Paul Pogba's performances in recent months have been very, very good. He's been enjoying the best period in his Man United career since he rejoined. Earlier on this season, Paul Pogba had an ankle injury and he was out for the vast majority of last season with an ankle injury. There's still a chance that Paul Pogba will leave the club in the summer. He's had a long-running transfer saga. There's 3 clubs that have been in for him, and that's Real Madrid, PSG and Juventus. He said, "We had revealed our asking price. We want £100 million. I'm very, very sceptical we'll get £100 million. But his future is on hold until the end of the season. Paul Pogba's agent, Mino Raiola, he's desperate to get his client out of the club this summer. Mino Raiola's been criticised a few times and he doesn't have a good relationship with Manchester United. He recently admitted that he's working quietly on Paul Pogba's transfer to avoid offence. And he made an announcement back in December regarding Paul Pogba, and Solskjaer was furious with Mino Raiola's announcement because it was just before the game against RB Leipzig in the Champions League. But it said a few weeks ago that we'd held talks with Paul Pogba regarding his future, and Solskjaer came out and said that Paul Pogba's happy at Man United and he suggested he could sign a new contract. Now, if we can't get a replacement for him in the summer, then he could sign a new contract. Last month, there was narratives coming out saying that Pogba was considering making a U-turn at the club, and he contradicted his agent, Mino Raiola, for the second time. Yet earlier on this season, we triggered that 1-year extension on his contract, so he's under contract with Man United until June 2022. Pogba's our most expensive signing at the moment because we paid £89 million for him. But he is a big miss because we lack quality in that midfield without him. Like I mentioned yesterday, Solskjaer was asked if Shortire and Amad Diallo Traore will start this game. Solskjaer's response was, they probably won't start, but they will be part of the squad. I think they should start Amad Diallo Traore and Shortire. Shortire recently made his first team debut in the 3-1 win against Newcastle. He came on. And Amad Diallo Traore made his first team debut in the first leg against Real Sociedad and he showed his tricks. I said, didn't I, that Amad Diallo Traore is going to be a good asset for the first team because he had been doing very, very well for the under-23s. But anyway, we are into the last 16 of the Europa League. We are 4-0 up from the first leg. It was a good win that in Turin. I wasn't expecting it. And it was a good performance as well as a good result. You know, the goals came from Bruno Fernandes. He scored 2. Marcus Rashford scored. And Daniel James scored. It should have actually been more than 4-0. Real Sociedad, they're not a brilliant team. They're a pretty good team. They recently had a good win, did Sociedad. They won 4-0. They are sitting 5th in La Liga. Their current manager is Emmanuel Alguacil. I do know a few of their players. Obviously, they've got Carlos Fernandes. They brought him in back in January. They've also got David Silva. They got him on a free from Man City last year. They've got Adnan Januzaj. Adnan Januzaj is a former Manchester United player. Don't forget, Adnan Januzaj did say prior to the first leg that he's got nothing to prove when he comes up against Man United. They've got Monreal. They've got Normand. I think Normand's suspended for this game. I think it's Robin Normand. They've also got Roberto Lopez. So they are a few of Sociedad's players. Don't forget they did lose Willian Jose. But yeah, the Europa League is a priority for Manchester United because it is a chance for us getting a trophy on the board. Now, we got to the Europa League semis last season. We did lose to Sevilla 2-1. And we won the Europa League back in 2017 under Jose Mourinho. We did beat Ajax in the final 2-0. But yeah, it was a good win against Newcastle recently in the Premier League, but it wasn't the best of performances. Obviously, goals came from Marcus Rashford, Daniel James and Bruno Fernandes, and Newcastle's goal came from Maximin. It was just good to get back to winning ways in the Premier League because prior to the game against Newcastle, we'd only won one of our last 5 in the league. Solskjaer must win a trophy as Manchester United manager to avoid the sack. We haven't won a trophy since 2017, and a club of our stature needs to be winning trophies. Now, as you all know, I am Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in. There's obviously been a lot of Man United fans demanding Ole Gunnar Solskjaer out. Yeah, we have enjoyed bad periods under him. Obviously, was poor earlier on this season. Got to say, Solskjaer was lucky not to be sacked earlier on this season, so we do deserve credit for sticking with him. We was poor at the first part of last season. We enjoyed our worst start to a Premier League season for 30 years. But yeah, Solskjaer's going to be given at least one more season at Man United. This is his second full season at the moment. Solskjaer came out after the 3-1 win against Newcastle and said that Man United are still in the title race despite the 10-point gap. But he said the exact same thing after the 1-1 draw with West Brom, that we are still in the title race and will not settle for second in the title race. You know, I've totally disregarded the title, and so too have a lot of Man United fans. I think we'll win another title at some point, but I don't know when. We haven't won the Premier League title since 2013. Manchester City are the champions-elect. But yeah, top 4 is our aim this season, and I can almost assure that we are going to finish in the top 4. You know, we're 9 points in front of Liverpool now. We're second in the Premier League. But I said, if we can win a trophy this season and we can finish in the top 4, top 3 or top 2, you know, I think that would represent a very good season for Man United. Then that will give us something to build on going on into next season. I've got to say, Ole is probably the best manager since the Ferguson era. I can assure he was certainly a much better manager than David Moyes was. David Moyes is probably the worst manager we've ever had. When we have been inconsistent, you know, some of the blame stemmed from Ole, but not all of the blame has stemmed from Ole. But I think anyway, in the last year or so, he's made very, very good progress. You know, in recent months, we've seen performances improve. There's been some games where Solskjaer's got the best out of the team. You know, throughout the course of this season, you know, players have been improving. We've got a fantastic away record in the Premier League. You know, we haven't lost away from home in the Premier League for over a year. We did go on a 13-game unbeaten run in the Premier League until Sheffield United had beaten us. You know, Solskjaer, he's got us to the last 16 of the Europa League. He's got us to the FA Cup quarter-finals. Yes, it's going to be a tough game against Leicester. You know, Solskjaer has got us to the EFL Cup semi-final this season, lost that to Man City 2-0. He did well last season in his first full season at the club. Got us to 3 semi-finals, got us qualification for the Champions League and got us third. And we went on a 19-game unbeaten run in all competitions last season. And we was 14 unbeaten in the Premier League. And to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's credit, he has got rid of a lot of the deadwood since he got recommended in. And I think Solskjaer has made good signings as Man United manager, despite the board not getting all the players that he wanted to recommend in as yet. Ole has spent over £200 million at the club. Solskjaer has endured 4 transfer windows so far as permanent Man United manager. So there you go. And this year's summer transfer window is Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's biggest in his managerial career. We must make signings in the summer transfer window. Solskjaer confirms that he's got the backing of the owners to recommend the players that he wants to get in. And he said a few weeks ago that we are prepared to smash our transfer record this summer. And Woodward's set to hand Ole Gunnar Solskjaer a huge war chest to sign top players in all areas. I think our transfer budget has been revealed and it's not what a lot of Man United fans expected. But I'm expecting us to make 2, 3, maybe even 4 signings in the summer. But the board must back him in the summer, like I've said. Because the board haven't backed him enough so far, and Woodward's come out several times to show his support for Ollie, and he did say towards the end of last year he will back him with a long-term plan centred around summer transfer windows. The board's been one of the biggest problems at the club for several years. Woodward's been at the club since 2012 and the Glazers have been at the football club since 2005. But a centre-back and a forward are now our 2 priorities. You know, there has been a lot of players on our agenda. I'm going to give you a bit more of an update on some transfer news on my next video. And like I said, I'm expecting more players to leave Man United in the summer transfer window. Like I said, there's a chance Mata will go. There's still a chance Pogba will go. Matic could even be offloaded. Will Tuanzebe go in the summer? Romero. I'm expecting Phil Jones to also leave this year. I think Solskjaer will get a new contract at the end of this season. Because it did say a few weeks ago, we will wait until the end of the season to begin contract talks with Solskjaer. And it says we could offer him a new 2-year deal on one condition, that's if we qualify for the Champions League. Solskjaer's into the final 18 months of his current contract. But it recently said that Solskjaer's future is in doubt because he admitted that he's still waiting to open talks over a new contract. Solskjaer's been Man United manager now over 2 years. And reflecting now on he's been at the football club, he has gained some managerial experience and he's learnt quite a bit on the job. Yes, Solskjaer hasn't got that proven pedigree as a manager. But obviously if he starts, winning trophies in that at Man United, he'll obviously then have a good pedigree behind him. Before he was with us, he was at Mulder. And before he was at Mulder, he was at Cardiff. And his record at Cardiff was absolutely disastrous. We appointed Ollie in December 2018 to replace Mourinho. He's been permanent Man United manager since March 2019. And Ole is our 4th permanent manager since Ferguson retired. We sacked 3 managers since Ferguson. That was David Moyes, sacked him after 10 months. Sacked Louis van Gaal after 2 years, and we sacked Jose Mourinho after 2.5 years, and we're not even really known as a sacking football club. We've brought around 37 players in since Ferguson retired, and we've spent over £1 billion on them. Obviously, Moisey brought 2 players in. Louis van Gaal, he must have brought a good 15 players in. A lot of the players Van Gaal brought in are no longer here now. There's still some here from the Van Gaal era, and Jose Mourinho, I think he recommended around 11 players in. There's still a few players here from the Mourinho era, but Solskjaer's got rid of quite a few of the players that Mourinho had brought in. So anyway guys, that's everything to update you today. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless. See you all again very, very soon.